Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tying this little temple dog I've called Stormfront, given the colour code and the fact there's a big storm over Scotland just now. Nice little fly. I reckon it'll work on the Spey and some of the other rivers of Scotland for Atlantic salmon early in the season. So let's get stuck right into it. So kicking off proceedings folks, we've got a 15mm brass bottle tube in the vise, and I've put the plastic tubing on the back, just coming in with some black Guinea 8O that I've waxed at this point, running it all the way down, right to the end of the tube, getting a few wraps in, making sure it's nice and secure and cutting away. Lots of wax on your thread folks throughout tying this, can't emphasise that enough. At this point we're coming in with some dark blue twinkle dubbing from Blob and Blizzard. Really good to get some flash into the back end of this and gives us a nice platform to build all of our other materials against. So getting this nice and tight, couple of wraps, basically bringing it to where the tube, this styler tube, starts to slope forward. As I said, keep this nice and tight, don't want to overdo it, add as you go. When you get to this point folks, again back in with the wax on the thread, keep it waxed, keep doing it. Going to come in with a large Chinese cock hackle, just catching this on the side, tip end first, and you can certainly catch in quite a chunk of this. Obviously you need to chop it to a length, but get this nicely secured in, a couple of wraps up and down, won't do you any harm. Once you've got this nicely locked in, you're probably going to be looking for 2 to 3 turns depending on the fibre you're using. Fold the hackle back as you go, keep sweeping these fibres back and it'll give you a nice platform to build the rest of the fly against. And once you're happy with the hackle that you've got, you can catch this in, good couple of turns, nice and tight, and then look to chop away that excess. As always, be careful not to chop your thread, and then just tidy up, pushing everything back and giving yourself a nice clean tidy platform. Okay, so at this point folks, going to come in with a couple of different Artic fox tails, pink to start us off with, and then add in the purple. Just measuring up how long I want this to be, chopping it to length off camera. Then I'm actually going to tie this in forward and fold it back, gives a nice platform for this winged style fly, give us something to push everything up against. So leaving a little bit of residual, as you can see, absolutely do that, and then just spreading it with a knuckle, making sure that it's nice and flat on the top of the tube, nice and centre, bit of wax on again, can't go wrong with it, and then look to fold this back and tie it in. Appreciate I'll need to change my name to Mr. Miyagi at some point, giving it wax on, but yeah, get more wax on the thread. Coming in with the purple, just a little bit longer than the pink, just catching it in forward, nice and tight, good couple of wraps down, nice and tight up against the pink, again gives you that platform, lifts everything up, get the nail in there, flatten it out, and then chop away the excess when you're ready and tidy up. And then for extra security, as I quite like to do, you can add a little bit of super glue onto the thread, get a couple of wraps down, and this will make your fly last that little bit longer. And then at this point folks, what you're going to do is come back in with a little bit of the blue twinkle dubbing, not a lot, just a little bit, just building up this little space just in front of this Artic fox, 1 or 2 nice little tight turns. Okay, once you're happy with your dubbing, you're going to come in with the longest part of the wing, which is the blue nayat. This is a good, I'm going to say, third longer than the fox at the back, maybe a little bit more than that, pushing towards half. Again, back in with the wax on the thread, can't stress it enough. And as always, make sure you're brushing out any under fur on these fibres you're using, really important. Again, catching it firmly on the top, good few wraps, making sure it's nicely positioned, get a thumbnail in there, flatten it out, and then chop away, tidy up. And again, coming back in with a little bit of super glue, just adding that security to the fly as you're building it. Okay folks, now at this stage just coming in with a little mix of pink, purpley, blue flash, fold it over, a couple of strands. You want this a good sort of chunk into the nayat, doesn't want to be the full length of the nayat though. And then catching this on, and you can fold these back down either side as well. As you can see, I've folded this over for the first piece that was caught. If you're going to do this, just make sure that you remember to cut through the loops when you're done. But yeah, a couple of strands, doesn't need to be excessive, and we'll give you a nice bit of flash through the tailing fibre. Alright, good stuff. Now at this point we're starting to taper back in on our wing, coming back in with some black Artic fox this time. Probably about halfway into the blue nayat is what we're looking for here. So again, a nice taper back in, just measure this up, catching it on the top again, and very similar to what we've done before with the other materials. Couple of wraps down, keeping it on the top, chopping away that excess nice and tight, and then coming back in with some super glue for security. Really important that you start to pay attention here to any trailing fibres coming forward. You don't want them coming forward of the eye at all, so take your time here to tidy up. Okay, we're certainly getting there folks. At this stage we're going to repeat the process that we did to almost start us off, coming in with another black Chinese cock hackle on the front, probably a little bit bigger than the back one. Catch it in with a good few turns of well waxed thread, folding it back and chopping away that excess tip side. And you're probably going to look for, I'm going to say 3 turns, but again it totally depends on the fibre that you're using. Just make sure you're folding this back, sweeping it out of the way, and giving yourself some nice neat turns with this fibre. Again, give yourself a nice platform to build this on top of. If it's bumpy, it won't sit properly and it'll end up all over the place when you're starting to do your turns. So make sure you've got that foundation of thread nicely in place. And when you're happy with what you've got on, which I am at this point, create a space, maybe a little bit fiddly, but you'll get there. Try and come up with a nice right angled turn through the fibre. You can bring that residual piece out a little bit to create the space as well once you've got 1 or 2 turns in. Again, you don't want this going anywhere, so 1 or 2 additional turns won't hurt you at this stage. And then for a bit of extra security, I'm not too fussed about a little bit of additional bulk at the front here, if I'm honest, so I've folded this back before chopping away that excess on this larger hackle. Again, getting the wax down so that I can get some nice tight turns on top of this, stopping it going anywhere. Okay, once you've got that hackle nicely locked in, you've still got that little bit of space at the front, which is absolutely superb. You need a few mil at the front here to bring in the last few fibres. So coming in with a blue Guinea fowl, and I've stripped away one side because we don't want too much of this. We want to keep this quite light on the front, but we still want to be able to give that impression. So again, just catching it in at this point. And once you've caught in your Guinea fowl, you're probably going to get 1 ton, 1.5 tons out of this. So just make sure you've got this nice and tight, nice and neat up against the black cock hackle. Get that turn in and then tie it in nice and securely. And once you've started to catch in the Guinea fowl with a couple of turns, just make sure everything's sitting where you want it to sit. And again, make sure you get plenty of wax on the thread, and then look to sweep all of this back, again giving you that nice head space. And again folks, once you've tidied up this area, got it looking how you want it, and you've got that, you know, couple of mil still at the front, you've got that head space, more wax on the thread, keep waxing this thread. Going to come in with some good sized jungle cock eyes, both sides, coming up into the wing, just catching these on, lock them in place, and once you've got them nicely positioned, quite happy how they're sitting, nice and even, fold back these stems and again tidy up. At this stage I wouldn't bother cutting away the stems folks, I would fold them back, leave them alone and form your head, again lots of wax. Okay folks, at this point it's all about finishing up and building the head, giving that sort of slightly oversized head to make it really show off how small the head is. Lots and lots of wax on at this point, keep waxing it. You do not want this slipping off, you've got fine margins here, but it will give you a really nice short but tall head finish if you can do this. So persevere with it, nice tight turns, and keep waxing it is the recommendation. And once you're happy with the head that you've formed folks, you can come in nice and tight whip finish, 3 to 4 turns I would recommend at this stage. And then once you've cut away your thread, come in and super glue or varnish the thread. And then the last thing to do, folks, before you forget, is come in and chop away those residual pieces from the jungle cock eyes on both sides. And there you have it, folks, the Stormfront temple dog. Really nice little fly, really like the colour combination. We'll definitely get fish on its day. Going to certainly give it a go on the spay next season. Might even take it out for steelhead in Canada. Right colour code for it. Until next time, hit the bell, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Cheers.